Hi, my friends, and welcome back to Buffalo Sports Talk of Western New York. My name is Tom Hastings. This is my partner, Tom Joyce. And today on Table Talk, I think we have a really good show. We're going to talk about the Olympics, and we're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills quite a bit today in this episode. But before we get started, I'd like to just ask you guys if you could do me a favor and really hit that subscribe button. We really could use you. If you subscribe, we've got a lot of great shows coming up, and this show is really, we're not professionals. We've said it many, many times. We're sports fans. We're good friends who like to talk about sports. We love our Buffalo Bills and our Buffalo Sabres, and we talk as fans and just give our opinions. And we would love you to join our community and subscribe to the channel. Give us a like on the video, and most importantly, comment down below. Let us know what you guys are thinking about this offseason for the Bills, some moves that you think that they should make. Let us know what you're thinking about the Sabres and how you're enjoying the Olympics as well. That's how you join our community, and we would love to hear feedback from you. We'll answer you back. We would love to get suggestions of shows that you'd like us to do, stuff you'd like us to talk about. We'll listen to that, and we'll do the best we can to try to give you the best shows that we can give you. So all you have to do, it doesn't cost anything, is hit that subscribe button, get that like button hit, and hit the bell icon so you're notified every time we upload a video. Normally, we have our show Table Talk on Mondays, and then Wednesday we upload our other show that we do on the channel, which is called Let's Talk, and that is the show that we basically talk about older sports events, and we share memories of great events that took place with Buffalo. If, for instance, this Friday coming up, or Wednesday coming up, we're gonna have a great show about the Super Bowl years, the Jim Kelly years of the Buffalo Bills from 1990 to 93. So I'm really looking forward to doing that episode. But today, right now, for Table Talk, it's all about the Olympics and the Bills. So, Tommy, get us started. What are your take on the Olympics? Are you enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it. I've watched all the games involving both American hockey teams, and I have to say the women's team is incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
They're a well-oiled machine out there, and watching them is just a lot of fun. And I don't know if we've ever had a men's or women's hockey team in the Olympics as good as the caliber of what we're seeing with these American women out there.
It's amazing. I really never followed the women's hockey, but I've really been invested in watching them. It's exciting, and it's a lot of fun. I've enjoyed this. Got to tell you the truth, I've enjoyed the Olympics as a whole this year.
Right.
I've really enjoyed it a lot, and hey, USA men's team, they're 3-0.
Yep.
And our boy Tage Thompson's having a pretty good run. He's got 2 goals scored. It's exciting to see. And I've been also kind of watching Switzerland with Dahlin, and Dahlin's got like 4 goals. He's really playing
Sweden, yeah.
Or Sweden, I'm sorry, Sweden. I'm sorry. It's early, folks. It's been very exciting. And when you mentioned the women's hockey team, they're playing today at like 10:30, I believe, in the morning. For those of you guys don't know, we're filming. It's around 9 o'clock on a Monday morning now. So we won't know what happens with that game until, But it's very exciting. I'm looking forward to watching that.
Yeah, it's against the only other undefeated team in the tournament, which is Sweden. But in the way the women are playing, it would take, I think, a major miracle for Sweden to come out of this game with the victory. The only team that, was supposed to give any real competition to American women was Canada, and they handled them easily 5-1. It's fun watching them unite. Haley, these women are out there, and they're just flying around the ice. I enjoyed watching more than anyone else is Abby Murphy. She's just a real dynamo.
Yeah.
She might not be putting the puck in the net as much as some of the other girls, but she's all over the ice. She's in the middle of all sorts of chaos, and she's a lot of fun to watch. As is our local representative on the team, Haley Skamara from Gettsville, which is right down the road, not far from here. She has 2 goals. She scored 2 goals in the first game, and I think what's most impressive about that is she scored those 2 goals with less than 7 minutes of ice time. So, it's fun to see local talent succeeding like that. And if the women are successful today against Sweden, they will go on to play the championship gold medal game, which most likely will be Canada. Canada is playing Switzerland in the other game, and then we'll see once again for the umpteenth time. I think so far every time in the Olympics with women's hockey, the gold medal game between the Americans and the Canadians.
Do you think it's going to be?
I think absolutely, and in the way the women are playing. It just seems like a foregone conclusion. I know we should never say that, but they're going to walk away with the gold because they're not just beating teams; they're completely dominating teams on both sides. They're not giving up shots, and they're just they're taking the game into the opponent's end and just not letting up. And they're just that swarming kind of hockey that you see when a team is just overwhelming the other team with talent. That's what we're seeing.
Well, they've been just so much fun to watch. It's a very exciting team to watch. The men's USA team had me nervous in Game 2 against Denmark. It looked like they were playing not to get hurt, and they were down. What was it, 2-1 at the end of the first period? They come back and start dominating, and it's 4-2 in that game. And then another cheap goal. And that was the thing that was concerning me. They were giving up some really cheap goals in that game.
Yeah, we see the difference in goaltending when Hellbuck's not in there. He's been pretty much lights out. And we've seen that in all three American men's games so far, is that the team starts out slow and then seems to build confidence as the game goes on. I like in what we're seeing too, there's always a couple games during the Bills season where it's closer than what you think it should be. They might be up by 3. They might be down by 6 at some point in the second quarter. But you just have the feeling, okay, we know they're going to win. Yeah. They just have to start winning.
It shouldn't be this hard, though.
And then they usually do end up winning. And I think I've seen with the U.S. team. Even when they're down, I think they have confidence in themselves. And, the fans watching have confidence that they're going to eventually prevail because they've got a lot of skill.
Right.
And, their passing is really crisp and their skating is strong. And, they're a great team. They got, Brock Nelson is playing great, and the Chuck brothers are a menace out. Every time they're out there, in Austin Matthews and Jack Eichel are
Eichel's been
fantastic.
Eichel, and then I don't even want to talk about Eichel.
I know Eichel. There's a sore spot.
What a coulda shoulda.
Sore spot. With the Sabres fans, but he's playing really well. Austin Matthews, who's the captain, is playing really well. It's a good team. Yeah. Now we have to kind of dampen our expectation because the Canadians right now
just crazy.
They might be, the male equivalent of what we're seeing with the U.S. women.
Yeah.
They're just a dominant team.
Yeah, I think it'll come down probably to USA and Canada, and I think Canada will probably take the gold.
We've got we're going to be playing the winner of Latvia and Sweden, who they play today, and which should be interesting because then you can have Tage Thompson against Rasmus Dahlin.
Yeah, and I think Sweden's playing good, but I still see USA beating them.
Yeah, I think so too, and it's going to be. I think when these Olympics began, most people predicted a U.S.-Canada gold medal game, and I think that nothing's happened that's going to change people's
I think that if it wasn't USA-Canada, it could be very damaging for the ratings,
right? Yeah.
For the sport. It's been this long talk. They didn't have the pros play, and now that they had the pros back playing again. There's been all this expectation that this was going to be the big head-to-head matchup. Yeah. I think Canada will win because just watching them, they look so dominant. And USA they against Germany, it was a tight first period, but they ended up pouring it on and winning decisively in Game 3, and they're winning their games. But I just think that Canada's just a little bit better.
Well, you look at the lines that they're rolling. They got McKinnon, they got McDavid, Sidney Crosby, who he's just the ultimate Olympic performer. He's now the all-time point getter for the Canadians in the Olympics. He's just timeless. He's a guy who every time the Olympics or any kind of international tournament comes along, he seems to really step up his game, and he's playing great. they're just, again, they're a team just absolutely loaded with talent, and not to say the Americans can't beat them, but the Americans would have to play a game where they're really able to slow the Canadian team down, and that's the Canadian team has just a lot of speed entering the neutral zone, and then they have a lot of talent once they get inside that neutral zone.
Yeah.
Americans have talent to play with them. Now, whether or not they can remains to be seen. And, again, we can say that, Canada is going to be favored in that game. They should be favored in that game.
Mm-hmm.
But, the U.S. playing the kind of game that they're capable of playing can keep it close. It might be able to come out with the win, but as you said, it's going to be tough. It's just a juggernaut that Canadians have out there.
Yeah, well, the USA on a whole for the Olympics, I believe they're number 3 right now with medals, and they have 5 gold medals, I believe. So they're, it's been. I've been enjoying watching sports that I don't.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know much about curling, but yet I find myself on the couch watching curling.
You're right.
For an hour or so, or watching. I love the skiing.
Yeah.
I know one of the guys on the speed skating team for U.S. broke a record for the 500-meter race. Again, I don't have his name offhand, but again, I don't know these sports, but I think that's one of the things I like watching it, because you don't see these sports on TV often, and it kind of reminds me of when we were kids and we used to watch A Wide World of Sports,
right?
Where you saw all these different types of events taking place.
Yep.
And I'm going to give a real cheap plug real quick. As I mentioned, our Let's Talk episode coming up this week is going to be about the Super Bowl Bills team of the 1990s. But the following week, we're going to be doing a show about who, Tommy?
Evel Knievel.
Evel Knievel.
The world's greatest stuntman.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun.
Be a lot of fun.
I can't wait. And that's what I'm telling you guys. We're really enjoying doing these shows, and especially talking about the nostalgic things from the past. And I'm really looking forward to talking about the Super Bowl years and talking about Evel Knievel in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be a lot of fun. One thing I want to, before we move on to the Bills, Tom, as much as I'm enjoying the Olympics, man, I miss the Sabres.
Yeah.
I especially the way that last week turned out, where we lost 2 of the 3. Now, we did lose in overtime to the Lightning, and so we got a point. But, they were going on a little bit of a slide before the Olympic break, and I'm just really interested in getting back to the season.
And it's going to be interesting to see which direction this goes in. Could this rest have, allowed them to resettle, give some guys some time to get over some nagging injuries, and recenter their, or is it going to be the momentum has been really shifted or killed, and they're going to be, kind of struggling to get back to where they were a couple weeks before the break. I think everyone in Western New York is going to be eager to know the answer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's hard to almost like have this 2-week break here where I just want to get back to the season.
Right.
As much as I'm enjoying all the hockey and all the other events, I just want to get back. And isn't that a great feeling? Because,
been a long time.
I love hockey. I've always loved hockey. Yeah. But this last decade or so, I've walked away because I just thought the team was it was being run horribly, and
the effort was poor many nights.
It was just so depressing to watch. I was having more fun going to my brother-in-law. His son is on a youth hockey team, and we'd go to watch a few of his games, and I was getting my hockey feed, with that.
Yeah.
Because that was more fun for me than watching the Sabres.
Right.
But now that, watching them play this year, and I just got that feeling back again.
Yeah.
And I just want to see it continue, and I just can't wait for the season to get going again. They're going to be playing 5 games before the trade deadline, which is March 6th. So I'm going to be excited to see if they make any moves. I'm really hoping to keep Tuck.
Yeah.
I'm hoping if they don't make any move, but they keep Tuck, at least that's a move in itself right there.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was listening to the radio, and they were talking about Tyler Myers is going to be available, and that would be an interesting thing to see if Buffalo would be interested in reaching out to Myers and bringing him back. Yeah. I know that's something that Buffalo fans, some of us roll our eyes. Oh, we're bringing back a guy from the past again, and
Yeah.
they do that with the Bills, and they brought back Lindy, and people are like, we're tired of the past, we got to go move forward.
Right.
But I just think for this push, I think that Tyler Myers would be a good addition if we decide to do it. But again, I'll ask your take, what you think. But I just think even if they just stay pat and that's a move in itself.
Yeah, I mean the team that they have has obviously been successful, and given that short slide before the break, overall it's been a very successful team,
Right.
And I think that you don't change success. You don't.
I don't want to lose
You
Tuck.
don't tinker with the moving parts, and I think Tuck is a integral part of the makeup of this team right now. And like you said, I'd hate to see him go.
Yeah, no. If we do nothing but keep Tuck, I'll be satisfied. I think right now they're depending on which poll you look at, they're like 70 to 80% chance of making the playoffs this year as we speak, and I think that they should make the playoffs this season. It's just going to be a matter of what they do when they get there, and it's going to be so exciting, Tom, to be talking playoff hockey again. Finally, oh man,
I had to learn how to do it all over again.
Yeah, all right, right. It's going to be fun though. All right, now we're going to segue into the Buffalo Bills and talk about the Bills a little bit right now. The Bills hired John Fox as an assistant coach. Now he's a former head coach, so he's got experience, a good veteran coach. I think that was a good signing, and I'm excited with the new coaches, and excited to see what direction they're gonna go with this team from here on out. But what I want to talk about real quick is we got the salary cap. There are like 3 or 4 players that I think we have to seriously look at for restructuring their deal. In particular, Josh Allen, his contract needs to be, if we can restructure his contract, Deion Dawkins, Spencer Brown, right there, those 3 guys, if we can restructure them, we'd be saving about $60 million. And also Dawson Knox. That's going to be a big question mark going forward, what to do with him, because he's making a lot of money for a guy that's a second, a backup tight end. But I think he's essential for the team, especially when we've seen Kincaid get injured as much as he has. So I think he's an important player to keep on the team. But it's just, do you restructure his deal? Maybe promise him you're not going to make as much money a year as you're making now. But add on a couple more years to his contract. He said he wants to finish in his career in Buffalo and retire a Buffalo Bill. Do you release him into free agency and then re-sign him again? People say, oh, that could be dangerous. Somebody may pick him up. I don't think for what he's making now that another team's going to sign him for that money. I think if we released him and then re-signed him to a different contract, that could be a way to go, or just restructure it in a way. I think he would be interested in restructuring, even if it means taking less money, but eventually making all the money that he's guaranteed now just over a little bit longer of a period of time. I think he'd be willing to do that, and you got to think Josh would be. I think all 4 of those players I mentioned would be
right.
Okay with restructuring, because they need to free up this cap space.
Yeah.
Tom, I want to get your opinion. What do you think about making a big move? There's been talk about A.J. Brown from the Eagles wanting out and maybe making a run for him. There's been a talk about Jefferson in Minnesota being interested in being a Buffalo Bill. He's probably the best wide receiver, or one of the top few wide receivers in the league. In order to get somebody like Jefferson, though, they have to find a way to free up $60-70 million.
Well, I think that we need to, as Bills fans, all we can do really is have faith in Brandon Beane. Now, at the end of last season, there was a lot of criticism ongoing of Brandon Beane, especially when it came to the wide receiver, slot, because as every Bills fan out there knows, there was a call to bring in someone big, and he, infamously, denied that was a need on the team, and
right.
kind of dismissed that, and a lot of people were upset with that. But big picture, I think Bills fans overall had to be happy with the moves he's made over the last several years. You know, the team, it's a good team, and he built that team, and it's a team that hasn't got over that hump. We know that playoff mountain that we've yet to reach the top of, but overall, it's a year by year. It's a Super Bowl contending team. It's one of the upper tier teams in the conference, if not the league. So I get the criticism of Brandon Beane, but I think overall, again, if you look at the overall volume of his work, he's been pretty successful with this team, and I think we just have to have faith that he's going to make the moves necessary to move the team forward. Now, is he going to? We don't know, but all we can do is put our faith in that process.
Well, the other free agent I was thinking of is Crosby for the Raiders. That all the talk is that he wants out of Las Vegas. So do you make that move on for the big signing to be on defense again? They did that last year with Bosa, and it wasn't really successful. Yeah. He had his moments, but it wasn't the impact that I think that they were desiring. Right. I really think they have to go offense with it. I think you have Josh Allen. He needs. I've said it over and over again since we started this channel. He needs a true number one receiver. And I'd love to see A.J. Brown or Jefferson on this team. Yeah. It's going to take moves, I know, but that's what the guy's job is. And I think they have to swing big. I think they have to load this team up and go for it this year. And I'll tell you why, because they got Josh Allen, probably the most talented all-around player in the league. If he's not the best quarterback, he's in the top 2 or 3. We saw the Super Bowl this year where I don't think New England had any business being in the Super Bowl, and Seattle really, they did it with a quarterback that was not really rated amongst the elite, to say as softly as I can, and they did it more as a team effort. That was good for this year, but that's not going to be a dynasty. Right. This Bills team, I thought, especially starting in 2021, I thought Josh would be in like 3 Super Bowls by now, at least. And I'm thinking of that 21 season, the 23 season when we had home field advantage against Kansas City. And last year, the 24 season, I thought, it was a huge disappointment. I really thought that they were Super Bowl bound that year. And who knows, if they win in 21, the way they were playing in 21 before that 13-second happened, they just looked like a team of destiny. And if they win the Super Bowl that year, who knows what the following years would have looked like. It could have been, they could have been the Chiefs. Right. What the Chiefs have done, with that momentum. So I think with the new stadium, with the new coach, with everything on the line, I think they have to swing for the fences. And I hear you saying, they've been a top contending team, but that's not good enough anymore. You've got to the point where you have to get Josh Allen into the Super Bowl. Winning it, hopefully, yes, he wins the Super Bowl, but you can't have Josh Allen be your quarterback and not make it to a Super Bowl. It's just the expectations have grown. We're not the team that didn't make it for 15 years, right, or whatever. They need the Super Bowl.
I agree. But we also seen in those playoff losses, a big part of it, let's face it, has been the lack of a pass rush, particularly late in the game. Right. These quarterbacks, namely Mahomes, have found success moving the ball down the field late in games, leading to those collapses, a couple of them at least. Right. And so a pass rush is necessary. We haven't had.
That's where Crosby would come in. Yeah, that's what Crosby.
There's needs on both sides. As always, there's needs on both sides of the ball.
But we're also going to see a different defense now than what we've seen the last 9 years. And so I don't know if you need to spend that big money on someone like Crosby. You could maybe look into the draft or find. I think Ed Oliver, a healthy Ed Oliver. You get Hoyt. If Hoyt comes back this year, we saw what he played. Yeah. Just the 6 quarters that he played before he got hurt, he made a big difference. A lot of promise, yeah. Yeah. So I just think that if you're going to take that big swing, it has to be a weapon for Josh, because where you can say, yes, the defense against Mahomes, had let us down, and even in the Denver game where they let up at the end, there. The bottom line is, I think we still win those games if Josh isn't beaten all to hell, which he had been, because he pretty much has to put on the cape all the time and
check down.
Yeah. Will a victory.
Yeah.
And stuff. He has to, we need another weapon. And we need someone. We never replaced Stephon Diggs, but I think we need to go a little step above Stephon Diggs, because as good as he was in the regular season, he always disappeared in the playoffs. He did it again in the Super Bowl this year. So I think a superstar like A.J. Brown or Jefferson, man, I think that would really go a long way to putting this team over the top.
Yeah, well, let's again, all we can do is sit and have faith that Sean McDermott.
He's gone.
He said, "Trust the system."
Yeah,
as a fan, that's all you can do.
Sean shouldn't have trusted that system.
Yeah, because he ended up
cost him. Yeah,
out of town.
Yeah. A couple other names I want to throw out there real quick before we finish up, like Tyler Bass. What do we do with him? He missed all of last season, and he's on the team for this $3 million. Do you keep him on the team? I know right now Brady has said that he expects him to be the kicker. But, do you release Bass and maybe go for a 6th-round draft choice and get your kicker that way? That's how we got Bass in the first place.
Yeah.
Or do you go and sign another veteran for a smaller contract? We're just looking for ways to free up some money. There's been a lot of rumors about Ty Johnson. I think releasing him would free up $3 million a cap space for the Bills. But man, I would hate to not to see No Tears Johnson on our team this year.
He played an integral part. Is he a necessary member of the team though? You could make the argument that perhaps he is, but I don't see his contributions being really necessary for the team to succeed.
I thought he was our best receiving back out of the backfield, and he was a good counter to Cook. There's going to be all these questions with Cook. He led the league in rushing, but he had that fumble bug came up once again. And so hopefully they tighten that up. Are they going to bring Cooks back? Josh Palmer, talking about restructuring your deal, he's costing us a lot of money, but there's over $8 million cap space with Josh Palmer, who couldn't get on the field.
That's about $4 million a catch.
And then you look at Cooks, he's older, but and another reason why we need to get a stud receiver, he was the closest thing that we had to a speed receiver at the end that was getting some separation.
Right.
And that says a lot about our receiving core. I love Shakir. Shakir is who Shakir is. He's that slot guy.
Yeah.
He, as much as we complained about that screen pass, I'd say 70% of the time it really did work.
Yeah.
And I expect this offense to be a little more wide open this year than it was. I think that Brady was calling those games with McDermott in mind, with his personality and the way he saw the game being played. And I think we're going to see a little bit of a different look on this offense, even though Brady's going to be the head coach. And he is going to be, although we have our new offensive coordinator, it's going to be Brady making the calls during the game. I think it's going to be interesting and exciting.
More of the hook and ladder. Worked every time.
Unfortunately, we lost every
all
game.
3 games. It was a successful play and a lot of fun to watch. So we'll see if he tries to fit that in some more.
Well, the tide's got to turn, right?
Yeah.
it's got to start turning in our favor. That's going to do it for Table Talk this week. Hope you enjoyed the show. Get ready for this Wednesday when we do our Let's Talk show. Again, it's going to be about the Super Bowl Buffalo Bill teams from 1990 to 93. Going to be an exciting show. I'm really looking forward to talking about that. But until then, guys, once again, please give us a like and a subscribe. Hit that bell icon to get notified every time we upload a video. And comment down below. Let us know what you're thinking this off season. Let us know what you're thinking about those Olympics and what you're thinking about those Sabres. We want to hear from you guys. So until next week, guys, take care.
Go U.S. Hockey.
Go USA. Bye, guys.